Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Left Hook. I am your host, Mark Bland, and you can find out everything you need to know about me, as well as The Left Hook Show at markbland.net. That's markbland.net. Welcome to the show on all of your CBS affiliate locations that are playing this show in the United States of America. I am Mark Bland. This is The Left Hook. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you guys the best of independent politics and pop culture discussion, and that is what we always strive to bring you every single week. Exciting show this week. Can't wait to talk to you guys. Zohran Mamdani won in New York and is the new mayor of the largest city in America. Congratulations to him. We'll talk about that. There is a precursor to a blue wave we saw on election night of 2025, but it's not what people think, and we're going to discuss that. And Nancy Pelosi is finally retiring, so that is a huge piece of news that dropped in right before we came on the air with you guys here. Now, that all being said, let's talk about this historic Mamdani situation. In a historic upset, ladies and gentlemen, 34-year-old Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani has won the and been elected to the city's next mayor of New York, defeating former Governor Andrew Cuomo and Republican Curtis Sliwa. Mamdani, a state lawmaker and son of immigrants, will become New York's first Muslim, first South Asian, and first African-born mayor when he takes office January 1st. He's also the youngest in over a century. With more than 2 million ballots cast, the highest turnaround in 50 years. We'll talk about that in a second, too. Mamdani secured a commanding lead, winning a roughly 9.90% of the precincts, reporting his victory speech in Brooklyn was defiant. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, New York delivered a mandate for change. He promised to fight for working families, expand free childcare, and city buses, stand up to hostile Trump administration policies and things like that. That's all he said. President Trump, who also threatened to cut federal funding and even deport Mamdani, posted on Truth Social, and so it begins. Cuomo, seeking a comeback after resigning amid scandal, conceded gracefully but warned of promises we know cannot be met. Mamdani now faces the challenge of governing America's largest city with an ambitious, progressive agenda and a divided nation watching closely. Now, here's what I can say. Mamdani was a breath of fresh air, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump, first term from 2017 to 21, ended with January 6th, before he even left presidency of his first 4-year term. His people had already gone so crazy that they attacked our Capitol building. They wanted to hang Mike Pence, and it was so not illegal at all that they all had to be pardoned from potential legal ramifications for the things that they did. Weird, Trump didn't understand that the things that they were doing were illegal. But here we stand, ladies and gentlemen, and now Mamdani has walked in and he has become the next mayor of New York. They had a Republican mayor, Eric Adams. But this was a rebuke, guys, of Donald Trump's policies. Like I said, this was a precursor, the beginning of. This was a feather in the cap. This was a red flag. If you're looking for red flags in a situation and you're talking about politics and the ability to be elected or reelected or where your party might be in the next election, this is what tells you what you're looking at. The highest turnout in 50 years. Let's just go there. The highest turnout in 50 years. Donald Trump and his policies and the way he's attacking America made the entire city of New York go, nope. I will. Listen, all Republicans do is talk about communists and socialists. Commies, and socialists that are trying to ruin America. The Bernie Sanders, the AOCs, ruin America. Nobody in America has ever lived under a socialist regime. Did you notice I said regime? You need more than one person saying that they're a socialist or a communist being in charge of something, and more people than one going along with it to be considered something of any major sort. But this is a situation where we don't require major sort. We just require Donald Trump saying, I hate that, don't like it, all of you are on my side, and then everybody's supposed to follow in suit. That didn't happen. They're not happy. Let me play for you exactly what Mamdani said. Exactly what Mamdani said the minute that he won. The minute that he won. One of the first things out of his mouth. Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Can you keep your speakers turned up? Take a listen. This is Zohran Mamdani with his speech after he won election for mayor of New York City. Take a listen.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Turn it up. That's a lot of cheering, baby. That's a lot of cheering, baby. That's all I'm saying.
We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Zohran Mamdani. Turn the volume up. And I get it. I understand what he's saying. Did you notice he didn't attack Donald Trump? He didn't say anything mean to Donald Trump. He didn't say, hey, Donald Trump, you suck, and this proves that you suck. No, he said, turn the volume up. I am not the leader of the Democratic Party. I was elected mayor of one city in the United States, but it's the biggest city in the United States with the most people in a melting pot speaking on behalf of themselves. More people came out this year than in the previous 50 years, and they wanted me, Mamdani, a socialist, to run our city. That's how bad Donald Trump's policies have been. But turn that volume up. I'm not the leader of the Democratic Party. Watch for Gavin Newsom. You better be watching for AOC. You better be watching for Mark Bland and Occupy Democrats and the Left Hook Show. You need to be looking and watching for the players that do play at the top of the food chain. And that's not that more Zohran Mamdani isn't there, but he's got his own fight and things that he has to focus on. His own stuff within the liberal movement. And like I said, none of you have ever lived under a communist or a socialist regime. He's the leader of a city. He's the mayor. He's not the governor of the state. He doesn't run the United States. He's not Donald Trump. So he knows that, and he's not pretending that he is, but he's wanting Donald Trump to know, hey, listen, pay attention. This is the beginning of what that blue wave could look like. And by the way, I'm really sick of this red wave, blue wave crap. All since Donald Trump became president of the United States back in 2016. This blue wave, red wave. Everything has to be a gate. If there's a problem, there has to be a water gate, a pizza gate, a this gate, a that gate. We need to move on as a society. I thought the best was when Stephen King, someone made a shot at Zohran Mamdani on Twitter, and they were talking about how could a city that endured 9/11 and terrorist attacks from people of his background, his ethnic background, how dare they elect someone like that to be the mayor of New York City? But hey, he was 10 when that happened. He wasn't in charge of anything. He didn't bomb anybody. He didn't do anything. And he's saying, hey, I don't like that stuff. I'm worried about New Yorkers. Guys, I wish more mayors and local leaders were like Zohran Mamdani. They wanted to discuss things. I've had local leaders, I'm not going to say on which side, but I've had local leaders recently tell me they don't want to work with other liberals at the top of the food chain, even though they worked with them prior to that. And they don't want to deal with them now. And it's like, wait, that person hasn't changed. What's changed about you? Oh, I've got my own schedule of how I want to approach this. And everybody's like, well, yeah, but that's not going to work for everybody. We're all supposed to be this cohesive unit. Well, there's not a lot of cohesiveness on the liberal side right now. They're down and out. Donald Trump has explained to 1 million people every single day that the Democrats suck. They're losers. They don't have anything going for them. Those people, they don't matter to America. They don't matter to America? How could they not? And all of this is going on while we are in the middle of a government shutdown. I've got the President of the United States more worried and more focused on discussing whether some elected mayor of the city of New York represents Democrats throughout the United States of America. Well, he's figuring out that these two things are not the same. He's also figuring out, ladies and gentlemen, that he's kind of up against the 8 ball now. The people are kind of speaking. They did choose a socialist to run all of New York City. Guys, he's not going to implement socialist changes. He's not going to implement communist changes. He's just going to run the city of New York because it's a big job and there's a lot that has to be done. A lot of meetings, a lot of conversations. Donald Trump, though, he should be focused on the White House. The midterms of 2026, this precursor, could be a bit of a blue wave, as they say. Could be something that he needs to watch out for. They could end up losing him the House and the Senate. Could get him impeached a third time. And by the way, they have a lot more to work on and work with for impeachment this time around in his second term than his first term. And this first year of stuff that he's been doing since January, oh my goodness, it is just cannon fodder for the Republicans to have to deal with more issues from Donald Trump moving towards the midterms. This is not going to look good. Your allies hate you. The country has high inflation. Prices are not going down. Trump says it, but they're not. Powell is not changing the percentages. He says that the tariffs have led to bad problems. We're going to talk about the tariffs here in a minute. But this is where we are at, America. We are here. Now, we live in the Midwest. This show is syndicated throughout the Midwest and other parts of the country, but mostly the Midwest. We don't have any effects from Zohran Mamdani being the mayor of New York City. We don't get affected by a lot of the stuff that we see on Twitter and on social media throughout the day that we hear about in Washington, D.C. Only huge stories. But if we are, as a country, going to move forward and we're going to do better overall, there is absolutely no way that we are able to maintain this same stance that we currently have with Donald Trump running the country as he's seen fit. Then complaining about when everybody turns their back and says, we don't like the bad things you're doing. We're even willing to elect socialists over the top of you to prove a point. Well, ladies and gentlemen, they proved a point, and now they have a new mayor of New York City. We're going to take a quick break here on The Left Hook. Go check out markbland.net during the break. We'll be back right after this.
This
Welcome back to The Left Hook. I am your host, Mark Bland. You can find us here on KRLL or WIBH. You can find us every single Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. WIBHradio.com. You can listen to the show as it debuts each week live. And we appreciate anyone who wants to reach out to us. Go to markbland.net for all of that fun. Now, Donald Trump wants everyone in America to constantly praise him for all the things that they've done. All the things they've done for you. All the things they've done, period. But we have an issue, ladies and gentlemen. One issue. It's the biggest issue of all the issues when it comes to this specifically. We don't have a lot of good news coming out of the Trump administration for the most part. We've talked about on the show that gas prices are lower right now than we've seen in a long time, since probably around the first Trump presidency, the early part of the first Trump presidency. So we're going back at least 10 years. We're going back almost 10 years since we've seen prices hovering around and being around the price that they are now. That's good. We'll give you credit for that. But where the problem comes in after that, ladies and gentlemen, is the tariffs. That's right. I told you we were going to be talking about the tariffs. You see, new information and reports are coming out that the tariffs are the biggest hindrance that are affecting it. I talked about in the first segment, Jerome Powell didn't even raise rates because he's still dealing with these tariffs and how the rest of the world is using them and how they're looking at them and how all this is being formulated. Well, guys, there are people that are talking about these things. There are people that are talking about these things. And by the way, these tariffs are part of his big plan to fix everything, right? The big, beautiful bill was going to fix everything. He's got these tariffs trying to fix everything now. And everyone knows the tariffs, they ain't fixing everything. They're just not. Well, here's our friend Donald Trump talking about some tariffs.
Saying you're happy with what you came out of it. If I didn't have tariffs, we would right now, the entire world would be in a depression. Because, that wasn't a threat against us. That was a threat against the entire world. I did this for the world. But, yeah, I would say that I can guarantee you this, if I didn't put 100% tariff immediately on China, the entire world, because of magnets, a special kind of rare earth, etc.,
magnets,
right? Would be closed up. Without the benefit of tariffs, we would not. We had a very successful meeting with President Xi of China and others. And without tariffs, that would not have taken.
Why would that not have taken place without tariffs? Just explain that to me. I am a relatively educated person with a master's degree. I understand politics. I talk it at the top level with some of the biggest players in the country. And what I don't understand is why were tariffs necessary for a meeting with Xi Jinping? He would have taken a meeting with the President of the United States at any time, most likely. He is one of the leaders of the three largest countries on earth, America being one of them also. I feel like he has a lot that he can benefit off of the United States of America, and he knows this, and he has people that knows this. But Trump feels the tariffs we'd be in the worst depression. Guys, we're already headed for a depression because of his tariffs. You see, this is what I'm trying to explain. We've already been down this road before, ladies and gentlemen. This was the Smoot-Hawley Act. This was during and after World War II. This is when they thought that tariffs would be used to fix things. And they didn't. And it led to more problems. And they had to create the Smoot-Hawley Act specifically so that people didn't do this again. But here's Donald Trump ignoring everything that has already been tried. It's like they made the square wheel and then they figured out how to make a round wheel. But Donald Trump just keeps going back and saying, I know I can make that square wheel be the wheel that everybody cares about. And the world has moved on to the round wheel because it just works. It just works. This works. This style of governing, this style of leadership, this way of approaching these things works. The tariffs don't work. So we wouldn't have been the most depressed country that was crashing to the ground. By the way, other presidents that you thought Republican, you thought were worse. Joe Brandon's, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton. Think of all the presidents that literally anyone who's a liberal who becomes president, you just think that they're the worst of all time. Even more worse than the worst of all time the last time you said it, just a few years earlier. Like, each time we remember, you're just, Margaret, you were 28 when you said it last time. Now you're 33. Now you're 37. Now you're 44. Do you see, like, we haven't changed. You've changed. Time's moved on. You keep saying the same thing. It's every single one of them. But the country has survived every single liberal president. It survived Donald Trump in his first term and all the things he did then. But this second term is not marred by things that he did in the first term that he's going to try now and get away with. No. This second term is a retribution tour. We've already called the shows that. We've already talked about this. It's a retribution tour. He's going after people. It doesn't matter about your political ideology. He doesn't care if you're liberal or Republican. He cares if you're for him or against him. And if you're against him, you can't say that you're against him. You're not allowed to have a choice anymore, ladies and gentlemen. You're not allowed to go into a movie that is directed by a friend of Donald Trump's and say that it was a bad movie. Everyone who walks out will get exit polled, and everyone has to say it was a good movie, or else you need to go to prison. They want to make Facebook jail real, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we've been saying on this show for forever. They want to make Facebook jail real. They are the worst of the worst people. They do all of the worst people things. Whenever they talk about, I hate child predators, we're against child predators. Every single child predator, for the most part, I didn't say all of them, I said for the most part, end up being arrested. They're Republicans. They're backed in Republican ideology. Their Facebook pages are steeped in MAGA and Trump stuff. They're into looking at young kids. And they know that others in the MAGA world do it. So they follow suit. They follow along. If you're a father of a child and you're a MAGA supporter, you should, I don't know what to do for that kid. I don't know what to do for that kid. I'm not knocking them. I'm not saying that their dad can't support Donald Trump. But if you're supporting the MAGA idea, like all this just, I'm in 100% no matter what, I'm not going to listen to anything Mark says or anyone else says, I just believe whatever I'm being told by that person. Crazy. I never believed everything Bill Clinton said. I never believed everything Barack Obama said. And I didn't take everything that Joe Biden said to heart. I didn't believe they were lying to me most of the time. With Donald Trump, I get the feeling that he's lying to me. And then he always goes into these rambling, stuttering, rambling, stupid things that nobody cares about. Dumb stuff. Just rambling on and on about this or that. It's wild, guys. It really is. You have no idea what I mean when I say this. Like, this dude rambles. And everybody just kind of plays along with it. Then you got guys like this. Lutnick. Howard Lutnick. His own guy handling the tariffs, handling the trade. This is what he just had to say recently.
In all seriousness, this case matters, I believe, for more than any other reason, not only economically, national security. How do you think it went today?
Oh, this is the Super Bowl. This was the Super Bowl of trade, right? Trade, and this was it. The only thing missing was walk-on and walk-off music and a halftime show. I mean, this was it. And there were fireworks all the time. But think of some of these questions, like Justice Kavanaugh says, imagine a meeting in the Oval Office with the president where, and this was his cross-examination of their lawyer, and he says, you've said he could embargo, he could cut off trade with any country, and their lawyer said, I agree. He goes, imagine telling the president in the Oval Office, sir, you can blow up trade with this country. And he goes, that seems too much. Can I put a tariff on him and do a little less? And they say, no, sir, you can't. And Justice Kavanaugh says, that seems like a very odd donut to me. I mean, how could you let that happen? It just didn't make sense. The justices were on the president's side.
Lutnick, you are not making sense, ladies and gentlemen. Lutnick isn't making sense. He's talking about how he had to go stand in front of the Supreme Court of the United States with Brett Kavanaugh and everybody and have a discussion about the tariffs. That's what he's talking about. Did you notice he was talking about fireworks were going off and it was a big show and everything was a show? Everything to these people is cosplay. They think that everything needs to be a WWE pay-per-view where you have this person versus that person and that person for that, and then there's fireworks. That's why when Charlie Kirk died and Erica Kirk came on stage, they had to have pyro for a memorial for her husband. Like, these people are lost. Everything's a game to them. Everything's a show. Everything is cosplay. Even the tariffs. Oh, can I put a tariff on it? I'm going to talk about fireworks. Lutnick, you're the problem. I'll tell you what they learned in that SCOTUS meeting with you guys. Let me tell you, America, what they learned. You ready? You ready, Trump supporter? You ready, MAGA supporter who's got it all figured out? Who listens to all the shows, got it all figured out, knows exactly who's doing what and for what reasons. You ready? Here's what they learned. They learned that because the Supreme Court of the United States granted the President of the United States presidential immunities this past summer, back in 2024, the summer of 2024, when they gave their opinion on that and where the presidential immunity sits, that a liberal, a Democrat, a Gavin Newsom, an AOC could easily walk into the White House now because Donald Trump has set a precedence with the way he is handling his moves and stated that they could impose fake things that climate change accord issues that you guys think are fake, BS stuff, things that are not real. They could impose those and use those as reasonings to go after and tariff or to attack in any form or fashion the American people. So what they learned is Donald Trump is making a bunch of moves with presidential immunity and that the other side could do that too. They're learning that with the filibuster right now. We haven't even talked about the government shutdown. The government shutdown is now in its like 40th, 50th, whatever day. There has been no change in sight. We're worried about tariffs. We're talking a lot about tariffs. And every single time Hakeem Jeffries and them send a message to Donald Trump that says, we're willing to sit down and we're ready, he goes, no, I don't want to. I've seen now 4 drafted letters from Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer demanding and asking at different times to sit down with Donald Trump and the Republicans to end this government shutdown. Help the people with those SNAP benefits. Help the people with those health care issues that they're trying to avoid. But Donald Trump doesn't want to sit down. You can tell me until I'm blue in the face, blah, 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 this. Donald Trump has full control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency of the United States of America. If they wanted to move things forward, they could. If they want to end the filibuster and go nuclear, that's fine. Go ahead. But remember, that can be used against you. When Mitch McConnell got that reinstated in 2017, they said specifically this could end up being used against us. And here we are in 2025 with the whole big, beautiful bill, and now the situation with the government shut down, and they're using it. There it is, right there in your face. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a quick break here on the show. When we come back, I want to talk to you about some wild things that are going on out there. I got Joe Rogan and our boy Elon Musk talking about some craziness. And I got to put that out there. You guys got to hear that. We'll be back on the show right after this.
'Cause I ain't the stars tonight. So watch me bring the fire, set the night light. Shoes on, get up in the morning, cup of milk, let's rock and roll.
Welcome back to the show. Mark Bland here with you on this beautiful Saturday, talking to you about politics and everything else going on in the world. And we just got done discussing Trump's tariffs and Lutnick and all the craziness. Now, associated with Donald Trump is always our boy Elon Musk. And Elon went on to the Joe Rogan podcast, Pogan as I like to call him. And nothing against Joe Rogan, he's fine. But he went on the Joe Rogan podcast and he said Mamdani, the guy who just won in New York, was a swindler. I want you to hear this. I want you to hear this. Full volume. Everybody, take a listen.
Say Mamdani's a swindler. I know he has a bunch of fake accents that he used to use.
Yeah.
And, but what else has he done that makes him a swindler?
Well, I guess if you say if you say to any audience whatever that audience wants to hear, instead of having a consistent message, I would say that is a swindly thing to do.
Yeah, that's all he's got to say.
Yeah. But he is charismatic.
So he's charismatic, ladies and gentlemen. He's charismatic, and he might have been able to pull off the win on his own with his charisma, his riz, as the kids like to say. But what you just said was he's a swindler because in the past, he'd use different accents or whatever, blah, 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 when he was a kid, younger, this, that, and the other. Got it. But your argument is that he feeds the people the message they want to hear when they want to hear it. The guy who went on stage and was handed a chainsaw and then went on stage and pretended like a guy with a chainsaw that he was ripping through the competition and letting the people out there who were cheering for him see the message that they wanted to see, that made them a swindler. Okay, well then, Elon Musk, you're a swindler. You're a liar. You didn't do anything on behalf of Doge. Doge was a dumb thing where it was some stupid meme that you were involved with. You tried to get the old man involved. Nobody cared. Vance cared. A lot of the younger people cared because you're Elon Musk and younger like them. You're one of their contemporaries. But you were trying to saddle up to a guy that was 25 years older than you. So you're a swindler too now with your chainsaw on stage and constantly standing next to him at the desk and feeding the press and everybody what you wanted them to hear, what you thought they wanted to hear. You were swindling people. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I wanted to say to you. That's what we're dealing with. Okay? That's what we're dealing with. Now, Trump was asked about opening the government up. Take a listen.
You said today, you kind of admitted that last night was not great for the party. You said that the shutdown and your name not being on the ballot were big factors. You're the head of the party, so obviously the policies are run on in these states. Do you see that at all, or how do you read it?
Well, I do, because, we've done so much. Energy is way down. Look at energy. We're going to have $2 gasoline. I did that.
$2 gasoline where?
Groceries are way down other than beef. Now, beef is going to come down. We have to do that. You remember when I started, eggs were up by 4 times what they were.
They're still high.
In 2 days in the office, and they tell me about eggs. I solved that because the fact is we have prices way down.
Nothing solved. Egg prices are still high.
The stock market's hitting record highs.
Before he goes any further, I know that I'm interrupting this, but ladies and gentlemen, egg prices are still higher than they were 4 years ago. At the beginning of the Biden presidency. Like, those are the prices you're wanting. Trump made it so that they go high now. They'll never go backwards. You're stuck with everything being double priced because of tariffs and the first year of Trump. It'll never go back to the way it was prior to 2025. Never. You'll get a deal here, a sale there, a this there and a that there that'll make you feel like, oh, I'm saving some money here and there. But what used to be $2 for a pack of ice cream cones, right? 20 ice cream cones in a pack so that you can put ice cream onto the ice cream cones. Those are now $6.50 ice cream cones for that same pack. They have over doubled in price. This man has no clue what he's talking about. He had a great Gatsby party for his Halloween. The country is shut down. People are losing their benefits. They can't even afford, they're living paycheck to paycheck as an air traffic controller, a very specialized thing to know how to do in this country. A job definitely worth the money they're paid. They're not even getting their paychecks. So he has no idea what's going on. He's fixing nothing. Listen.
Like 48 times during my 9 months, and just a couple of days ago it hit another record high, like really record high. It's great, and that equates, it's not just rich people, that's 401ks. I mean, that equates to everybody. And the country's doing very well. But as Republicans, you have to talk about it. Because if you don't talk about it, I saw that they kept talking about affordability. Well, Biden was a disaster with affordability. He had the highest inflation rate in the history of our country. But you have to talk about it. It's no good if we do a great job and you don't talk about it. And I don't think they talk about it enough. They have this new word called affordability, and they don't talk about it enough. The Democrat.
Okay, you heard it. You heard it right there, ladies and gentlemen. There's a new word. A new word that Donald Trump has coined. It's called affordability. Affordability. That's right. Coined by Donald Trump and the Republicans. Affordability. You've never heard of affordability before. Or for Ford's Truck Month. Affordability. As if they haven't used that in one of their slogans before. We all heard it. This is crazy land, ladies and gentlemen. He thinks that you have gas that's under $2 a gallon wherever you live in America. Go show me your gas that's under $2 a gallon. Show it to us. Send us all the pictures of the gas under $2 a gallon. All the eggs that are $2 for a dozen of eggs again. They used to be $2 for a dozen of eggs. $2 for a dozen chicken eggs. Now they're like $5, $6 for a dozen chicken eggs. They're not cheaper. Ladies and gentlemen, the left hook is here to open your eyes to these stupid things that Donald Trump says quite often. Always. We've got flights that are out of control right now. Flights that are out of control. Take a listen.
Let's put this all into context. The U.S. handles about 45,000 flights a day. A 10% reduction of that is worse than the worst cancellation day of the past year. Every day until the shutdown ends. So this is not a small tweak. Aviation's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And when you slow the system, you slow commerce, air travel, supply chains, deliveries nationwide. The clock is really ticking now. Never in modern U.S. aviation history has the federal government done an across-the-board cut of flight capacity like this, and now it seems that passengers are going to be the one paying for it.
Okay. Now we're back to the country. Remember, Donald Trump tried to sell you on the country you grew up in. I just played you a clip about air flights, airplanes, getting to and from destinations. The United States Transportation Board has decided that they might do a 10% reduction in flights. They just said on that clip right there. A 10% reduction in flights by itself is worse than the worst day in American airline history of dealing with delays. The worst day that they've ever had. 10% cut would destroy this. On top of that, ladies and gentlemen, TSA's not there to check your shoes, check your bags, check all the bombs that you didn't bring. So now, are you supposed to just walk past TSA to the planes? Are you supposed to just get onto them? You've paid thousands of dollars in some cases for your trips. You paid for an expedited shipping on that package to get there in time for that whatever. Now that's not possible. It's not the Democrats' fault. The government is shut down. Donald Trump is just refusing to open it. And by the way, the government has been shut down before. All of these people didn't lose any of these things. They were able to still maintain all of it. We did shut the national parks down. Some people got furloughed on the parks, but everybody was furloughed, got paid, back pay, and everything like that. Not with Donald Trump. As Donald Trump is president, it's about my way or the highway, and you are losing, America. You are losing, Missouri. You are losing, Nebraska. You are losing, Kansas. You are losing, Oklahoma. You're losing. Because now your state's going to start getting affected by flight cancellation issues. Some of your mail is not going to get there on time. Other things are going to start getting affected. Packages, cargo ships, all of it. And your trip to the Bahamas that you paid $2,500 for you, your husband, and 2 kids to go to. All of it now might get thrown away. You wasted $2,500, and the airline ain't going to give you the money back, and the vacation company and the place that you went to is definitely not going to give you the money back if you went at all. So you're kind of stuck having a horrible life in the United States of America. It's nothing like it was before Donald Trump was president. Hell, it's nothing like it was when Donald Trump was president the first time around. Are you catching on yet? It's that bad, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, election night of 2025 came and went, and it wasn't anything major. Not a huge bell by any means. But after the first year of Donald Trump's second term of presidency, the way the people viewed walking into the polls just 1 year later. A year ago, it was Trump, Trump, Trump all day long. And now, the city he was born and raised in, that he loves so much. Remember, he was down there on 9/11, the day of, next to the towers, rummaging through the rubble with the firefighters and everybody else, and his bone spurs. That city elected someone who was Democratic. And they said no to Donald Trump and his policies. And that's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. That was the whole point of today's show. Donald Trump and his policies are so bad that even when it comes to voting now, the people are turning their backs to him. They are not running along the same path that our friend Donald Trump runs along. And that's okay. That's not the end of the world. We're going to make it. We'll get through it. I promise. I don't know how long before the Civil War starts. Could be happening in the next few months. Don't know. We'll see. Before we get out of here today, there's a new report out that says the average person has 2 different places at home that they consider my spot. And they have those spots on average for 4 years now. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. In your house, there are 2 spots every person has they consider their spot. And they've had it for at least 4 years or more now. Now, I know one of them for me is the garage, because I smoke cigarettes and I don't smoke in the house. And so I go out to the garage to relax and do any of that type of stuff. That's one of my spots. I would say my other spot is the office at my house, where I do a majority of content and things like that, putting it out each week. Where is it for you? Do you got that place in the kitchen? You got a chair in the front room you like to watch? Now, for my wife, I'm sure it's a chair in the front room. She loves to sit in and watch her movies and TV shows. And then after that, I don't know where her second spot is. She has a chair out by me in the garage, but she doesn't use it all the time. She's not a smoker like me, so different kind of vibe for her. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to get out of here on this amazing show. I want to thank every single one of you for listening. Make sure you check us out every single Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central Standard Time at WIBHradio.com. Or you can always find the old episodes and everything else about me and everything with the show at markbland.net. That's MARKBLAND.net. We will see you guys next time on the show.
Oh, here comes trouble. These people talk too much. Need to shut them up.